Hey guys, this is Jay Calder of JAYONBOXING here giving you a personal prediction for Anthony Joshua versus Otto Wallin. And as always, this is just my take, of course. Your predictions can be left down in the comments section below. Would love to hear them all. A little bit of fight info here. We have Anthony Joshua taking on the aforementioned Otto Wallin. This will be at the Kingdom Arena in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, airing live on DAZN in the heavyweight division with no titles on the line. Well, here we have the main event fight for the main event card of the year. We have former unified heavyweight champion Anthony Joshua taking on the very talented Otto Wallin. While the fight everyone might want is between Joshua and his co-headliner, so to speak, in Deontay Wilder, who is taking on Joseph Parker in the co-main event, Wallin isn't a stroll in the park. He's slick, has some skill, and only has a close loss against Tyson Fury, of all people, against him, so he can certainly fight. Still, can Wallin do it against the highest level in the division? That being said, can Joshua deal with another trickier boxer who likes to move while also staying focused ahead of the potentially massive clash with the aforementioned Wilder? Who wins? How? Let's break this one down and find out. Starting off with Joshua here, for AJ to win, you want to land the overhand right. Now, you don't just want to throw it in there and hope for the best. You want to set it up, of course. You want to use the jab, step in at the right times, look to time Wallin so you know when to throw it. But I do think it's a shot that can be successful against him. Wallin's hands can kind of go down, especially when he's looking to counter and try to hit you with one of those counter shots. Because of your reach and your explosiveness, I think if you can get that overhand right behind the jab, when you've kind of blinded him with it, it's a shot he might not see coming, that he might be susceptible to, and that can certainly be successful for you in this contest. Also, at the very least, even if it's not a shot that ends up knocking him out, it can be a shot that's helpful for you when you're trying to come in and get work done a little bit more in close in your preferred range, as opposed to letting Wallin move so much. If it's a shot that tames him down, settles him down a bit more, and allows for you to get to work, all the better. So certainly the overhand right is a shot I think you can have success with in this contest. I would also say look for the uppercut. First of all, it's a shot you throw well. I think it's a shot that you're kind of underrated in terms of your arsenal. It's a shot you throw pretty well. But it's also a shot that has been shown to tag Wallin in close when he gets his hands going and doesn't worry so much about his defense. He's the shorter fighter, so if he's getting lower and crouching, trying to avoid your shots, it's certainly a punch that at the very least can bring his head up and allow for you to land more powerful blows and potentially catches him off guard. As mentioned, I think you're going to need to close distance to begin with, so it's certainly a great shot to throw once you do get inside, as mentioned, which I think you're going to want to do. And once you're there, it can be a shot that either hurts him because it isn't a shot he's expecting, or at the very least brings that head up and allows for you to land more of those more powerful blows down the middle. And finally, get him on the ropes. I think it's pretty obvious you have to pressure her. You have to push Wallin back. You have to be the bigger man and fight like it in this particular contest. Wallin is going to want to move. You're going to have to cut off his exits, limit his movement. You have to be able to do it if you're going to be successful. Again, he is going to try to move. Use that lateral movement of his. So you're going to want to cut off the ring by simply stepping to the side, anticipating his move. Kind of catch some of his tells in terms of his movement and use that to your advantage. You can also use those kind of pawing hooks to kind of keep him more cornered and usher him into those corners and against the ropes when he is looking to move laterally. Once you do that, you can line him up much better, step in with that overhand right, even throwing that uppercut on the inside, and really get to punishing him once you're pressing him and pinning him back. Now, switching over to Wallin. For Wallin to win, you want to get that backhand going. Obviously, you want to get the jab going. That's almost too obvious in this case to mention. Of course you want to jab. But the stronger hand needs to get going as well, and this is for a few reasons. For starters, it can kind of be a bit of a switch-up, lead to something that he isn't necessarily seeing coming so much, because you throw with that kind of backhand as basically just your straight shot. Don't even have to build into it necessarily. Just throw it as a lead shot. Then, of course, you want to throw it as a counter at times when he's perhaps coming in and you're taking that half step back. It's a shot that can land with a little more authority and potentially make him think twice. Either way, you want to make sure that this is a shot you're keeping busy. Of course, you can use that jab to set it up. You can throw it as a lead or a counter, but you just have to make sure you get it going early and often to get AJ's respect, and of course to score with something a bit more menacing than just that jab. I would also say turn him and use movement. You can't just stand in front of him. It's too easy for that to become an exchange war or a trade war, and I think that ultimately favors Joshua. He has 88% knockout ratio against better opposition. You have 53% KO ratio. Naturally, that favors the Londoner. That said, you have to move. Laterally, You have to move side to side. You have to be able to turn him, pivot him. It just can't be in straight lines. If he does get in close, either counter and turn or simply pivot as mentioned out of harm's way. But you have to make sure you're staying on the move and kind of keeping him off balance. If you allow for him to stand in front of you when you're both more squared up and a bit more engaged, and he's able to really unload with some confidence because you're a bit more stationary, I think it favors him. So the movement is certainly going to be important for you in this contest. Doesn't mean you have to run, but it certainly means you have to make him chase and then kind of fight more of the pace and tempo you're looking to fight. And finally, keep a busy pace. Joshua's a big guy. He's muscular. That tires out a bit more quicker, usually, and he also has had some stamina issues in the past. Make him work and make that work for you. Again, this doesn't mean that you have to do it through trading, but rather making him chase, making him use his legs, making him have to move around. As he's doing this, you're turning him, making him miss, and countering, as mentioned, with that backhand that can really score well once he starts getting a bit more winded. If you're landing those counters and those quicker shots that he isn't expecting and that he isn't planted to take a bit better, you can certainly drain him of his will and, of course, of his actual tank when you're putting him under that kind of pressure. Of course, build into this further on as the fight wears on, as the rounds progress and AJ maybe drains, and you can then make it pay off in those championship frames. Now, in terms of my pick here, there's this weird part of me that really wants to go with Wallin here. Not just because it's the end of the year and hell, I'll go wild, why not? Because it's something I like to do, but I also just think he has a shot. Still, I'm going with Joshua on this one. Wallin will make it look very good early on in this matchup and will land well and make it hard for Joshua. However, AJ will close the range and land hard shots straight down the middle and over the top that slow Wallin down as AJ gets more productive. Joshua will get through the gears as he lands more regularly, mixing those uppercuts in on the inside, and ultimately it will be one of those shots or just an accumulation of punches that will ultimately put Wallin down. He might beat the count, but the referee waves off the contest not long after, awarding the win to AJ. Winner, Anthony Joshua via mid-fight stop. Now, in terms of the betting odds here, Joshua is a pretty sizable favorite, coming in at a minus 450, with Wallin coming in at a plus 310. I think the odds are pretty fair here. Wallin is a skilled fighter, but he just hasn't been able to do it convincingly enough against the best in the division because they really haven't been wanting to fight him, and that kind of works against him here. That being said, while he is a dog, I think he is a live one. If you wanted to lay some odds here, to me, it makes more sense to go with his money line because you're getting 3-1, and I think he does have a shot. Certainly has to be on the smaller end. In my opinion, it would be for me because, again, he is facing someone who has been there, has beaten better fighters, and certainly been in bigger fights as well. But I would definitely say that that's the line I would look for if I were looking to take a money line. In terms of the over-under, it's a bit early to find one, and when I am recording this, so I haven't been able to find one. My guess is it'll be around 8.5 to 9.5. It is a heavyweight fight, but again, that's just a guess based on how early it is and how far out it is. It's just a bit too hard to be able to say exactly what the odds will be. But if that were the round, I would like a 9.5, for example. I'd probably go under, but again, when I get those odds, I'll pin them down in the comments. In any event, those are your odds. And my prediction record as of this recording is 40-12 with 25 exact. But let me know what you guys think down in the comments. Love to hear your thoughts, predictions, your bets, your take on this fight and the event itself. All that good stuff down there. Of course, check out the socials here. Like, comment, share, subscribe, follow, all that good stuff. And of course, be sure to visit JAYONBOXING.com for schedule, results, betting odds, grades, rankings, and more. And as always, until next time.